Ladies and gentlemen, the Near Fall Network proudly brings to you the modern-day Micah Raja, the guru of grappling gab, the one, the only, Shooter!
Near Fall Nation, say hello to the ball guy, and welcome to a brand new edition of Drive By with Shooter. As always, thanks for stopping in and seeing what I do here at the Near Fall Network. Now, I have a pretty big show for you guys. I want to touch on some of the Survivor Series fallout, some of the things we saw happen on Monday Night Raw, and I'm going to wrap up just giving thanks for everything that has been this year, 2017, in professional wrestling. Before I go into any of that, I just want to do a little, programming note or announcement. If you're new to this show on any platform you're listening to it currently, I just want to kind of give you an update. I started this show, and this show kind of spurns from a Facebook page that will hopefully soon, very soon, be a website. And me and King of Nerds and High Five and MFer, we are the Elitists, and we run a social network Facebook page and Twitter account called the Near Fall Network. Our YouTube channel is where I wanted to have this podcast, but it's an audio podcast, and there's not a video element to this, so it doesn't make quite sense to just leave it there. So I wanted to bring this to other downloadable formats, such as, and what it is now on, is Podomatic and iTunes. So we now have other options. If you want to listen to me, listen to everything that I have to spout off about, you have an option to download it instead of stream it via video service when there's no video. So just trying to make this more accessible for everyone. So that is the one note I wanted to let everybody know. If you're new to the show, you found it on iTunes, make sure you check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/Nearfall Network. We give you updates. We aren't a dirt sheet. I mean, we follow the dirt sheets. We don't report huge on news and rumors unless it's something that we think is relevant or is credible. We try to keep stuff as credible as possible. This show, and again, if you're finding this new on YouTube, the episode numbers probably throw you off, but we work with another page, and that's when I started doing this. And although those episodes are in my archives, I've never made them public. They're just not the quality that I want. And with some of the fallout of leaving that page and we, the Elitists, having to create our own, it's just, the past is the past. We'll let it be. I started this on the YouTube and brought it, again, not bringing all the episodes from the Near Fall Network, but bringing the better two once I got approval on iTunes, and we're going to start there. So the numbers are messed up. There's way more episodes out there. You can search them out on our YouTube channel. Just search Near Fall Network on the YouTube channel. If you like what you hear, you want to see some older stuff that I did. Not that old. We've only been doing this around since SummerSlam. So go check that out. Feel free. The YouTube page is going to continue to have this podcast, but we're shooting for other things beyond just wrestling. So 2018 could be an interesting year for us here at the Near Fall Network, and hopefully it is, because we want to continue to grow and improve and do more things for our fans and to entertain ourselves, because that's why we do this. It's fun. We like to talk wrestling. We like to talk nerd things, and that's what we want to do. So just a little bit of programming note. You can find this in more than one place now, and I'm excited to be bringing that to you guys. Now, let's get into the meat of the story. Survivor Series. What an awesome weekend between War Games and Survivor Series. You probably saw both my reviews. War Games was reviewed on a live stream on Facebook. You can check that out on our page, and you can also check out the YouTube channel for the Survivor Series review that I did. All in all, both were fantastic shows. Nothing was perfect, nothing ever is, but I mean, we're getting pay-per-views like this. We, as wrestling fans, just need to enjoy them. What I do want to talk about is some of the fallout from Survivor Series. And this will kind of come full circle at the end here, but first thing, how about those NXT call-ups for the women's roster were pumping some new life and new talent into the women's division, and we're continuing this women's revolution, or is it a women's evolution? Whatever you want to call it, we're adding new life. On Raw, a returning Paige comes back to a huge crowd pop, which is totally amazing. And it's just good to see the fans not turn their back on her or shame her. And let's hope that this stays this way, because I know I've been critical of Paige's decisions in the past, but that's not because I looked at her negatively. I like Paige, and I want to see someone so young with so much talent not throw their life away for some dickbag named Alberto Del Rio. That's just the way it is. It's honest to God's truth. I can't sugarcoat it. The guy just seems like a first-class asshole and was literally ruining this girl's life, if you take into account anything that you read on social media and the dirt sheets. Now, all that being said, she comes back, returns, and she brings some friends, Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Now, both of these girls were former Tough Enough competitors from the season that Paige served on the judging panel, or however that was actually structured. So I find it really interesting. There's definitely a connection there. Now, we also get some women come into the picture on the SmackDown side. We get Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, and Sarah Logan. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, both current NXT competitors, although Ruby was probably the one that did the most. Liv didn't do a lot on TV or storyline-wise. And Sarah Logan was most recently seen as a Mae Young Classic competitor. So I like that we subtracted from the NXT roster and added to the main, and we didn't really hurt the NXT roster because, as stated, Ruby Riott was really the only one doing a lot. I think all these girls have a definite upside. Ruby Riott, like I said, probably saw the most NXT roster action. She actually had was in that 4-way at SummerSlam, the SummerSlam Takeover Brooklyn, I believe it was Asuka's last takeover when she was part of that 4-way women's match for the title. So definitely had a little bit of touch on that main or that NXT roster, but she still wasn't big in the storylines, and the other girls were not really part of it at all. So NXT doesn't take a hit. We can influx a lot of those Mae Young Classic competitors into the NXT storylines and get these girls into the main roster storylines. And let's be honest, the women's division on both sides, Raw and SmackDown, was starting to get just a tad bit stale. I love them. I love all the talent that we have on both sides. There's arguments to be made here and there that some are better than others, and obviously that's how it is on the men's side. That's how it is in the cruiserweights. But just having the options of having these girls added to the rosters, we can see what they can do. They all get a good look. I'm curious to see what this means. Does this mean we get a Women's Royal Rumble? Because that's been a rumor for a while. High Fiver even brought it up last week on our on this very show when we were discussing Survivor Series and a possible return of Paige, a possible return of Nikki Bella, which neither one happened, and I'm totally fine with it. But maybe this means that we get some, new competitors into the ring so we can expand on that. Do a Women's Royal Rumble. I'm down for that. I'm not so excited about the idea being tossed around there about tag team for the women's division. I just don't think each show can't sustain 2 tag team championships. And you would think, since the rosters are split and there's women on each show, you'd have to have a Raw and a SmackDown tag team championship for the women. And to me, that's where you don't make sense, because then you kind of shallow out that roster again, and it's not going to hold. It's not going to be able to hold the depth and keep the story. You're going to run in the same pattern, or where the same people are going against each other, and it just doesn't work. But for a Royal Rumble, especially a co-branded, both rosters, Raw, SmackDown, Royal Rumble, throw some NXT girls in there, maybe get some surprise returns like a Trish or a Lita or an Ivory or something of that caliber. Hell yeah, I'm all for it. And I'm excited to see what this means for the future of WWE and the women's revolution and women's wrestling in general. So, of all the fallout, I think that was a good addition. I think that was a solid way to add a little bit of extra meaning to the Raw following Survivor Series. Because we all know the Raw following WrestleMania is a big freaking deal. And we kind of had this show of Survivor Series in the last few years really fall off. And they came back, and they came back huge with this edition. And I like it. And coming back with this edition of Survivor Series and making Raw a little more meaningful, I also like. And we're going to get into that because something big happened. There was a title change on Monday Night Raw. And what does that mean? And is the Near Fall Network's very own High Five and MFer predicting stuff right under our nose? I'll get you caught up in case you are clueless on what I'm talking about. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Drive By. I left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. If you didn't watch Monday Night Raw, then you don't know that we have a brand new Intercontinental Champion, and that is none other than the guy, the big dog, one current member of the Hounds of Justice themselves, and that is Roman freaking Reigns. Beat the Miz is the new IC champ and is now a Grand Slam champion because in addition to the IC championship, he's had the WWE championship, the US championship, and the tag team titles. So he has now won every major championship in the company. It puts him in a special league. I think Dean Ambrose is in that league as well, and now Seth Rollins is the only member of the Shield who is not a Grand Slam champion. I apologize, guys. Sometimes words are hard, and my tongue gets tied. Anyway, big night. What does this mean? You know, I threw it out there. Is the High Fiving motherfucker, Near Fall Network's very own High Fiver, is he predicting stuff right under our nose? Because if you listen to last week's show, he threw out there that Braun Strowman will be in the main event of WrestleMania. And we've all kind of talked about how that's just not going to happen. Nobody but Roman and Brock are fighting at WrestleMania 34, and Roman's going to win, slay the beast, and it's the end-all be-all. Vince McMahon's greatest story he's ever told of how the underdog, which is laughable, but the underdog Roman Reigns rises up and beats the beast incarnate, who is unbeatable, who retired the Undertaker. I'm sorry, Roman retired the Undertaker, but who beat the Undertaker, broke the streak, is beaten by the guy who retired the Undertaker. That's where I wanted to go with that. But is there a wrinkle in the plan now? Did something change? Is Roman completely out of the picture? I don't think he is. However, with the handling that we've seen in the past few weeks, with the changes that have had to been made, granted, the changes to TLC happened because of an illness, and maybe this happy accident that you wouldn't wish illness on anyone, but maybe this is causing some dramatic shifts. I don't know. Was the Shield put together simply to get Roman Reigns over? Because it's kind of working. Or was the Shield a legit part of this plan the whole time? I have a hard time thinking that. I think this was a total tool to get Roman Reigns over. And again, I love the Shield, so I'm totally okay with it. Because guess what, guys? I don't mind Roman Reigns. I don't like the fact that this is the Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns show. But, see, is it? Because in recent weeks and months, we've seen the rise of a brand new monster heel that has now turned into a brand new monster babyface. And that is none other than the amazing Braun Strowman. If you can watch Monday Night Raw and not be a fan of Braun Strowman, then I don't even know why you bother to watch the show, because Braun Strowman right now is the best thing on WWE television. Braun Strowman is the best booked character on the show, and he is being made out to be the end-all be-all of the WWE. And I don't think you could disagree with that. I don't think you could argue that. And I don't think we would want to. Because how fun is Braun Strowman? How fun is it to see Triple H, the cerebral assassin, get shit-canned at Survivor Series by his teammate Braun Strowman, and then cower to him the next night on Monday Night Raw? Obviously, we're building to a match between those two at some point in time, and hey, that could change, but that's how I take it. We watch this, and we watch these characters develop, and sometimes we love what we see, sometimes we hate what we see. Sometimes we don't care what we see, which is the worst. Apathy is the death knell for a wrestler, for their storyline, for however you want to look at it. People care about Braun Strowman. I care about Braun Strowman. So if Roman's in the IC title picture as the champ, what changes? Does he lose it before we go to WrestleMania and he fights Brock Lesnar, which is pretty much inevitable, right? It's inevitable. Or does he keep the IC title and we have a super card, or not a super card, but your champion versus champion, the ultimate challenge, isn't that what they called it? When the Warrior fought Hogan and Warrior was the IC champ and Hogan was the world champ. I don't know if I want to see that. I definitely don't want to see two title belts unable to change hands for the road to WrestleMania. Like, we've already dealt with that with the Universal Championship, and I like Brock as champ. I just don't like the fact that we know nobody's going to beat him. It's too predictable. You know Brock's going to win. So what does this do? Like, this opens up a lot of questions, and the High Fiver himself has said numerous times that Braun's getting in that title picture. Braun's going to be in a main event, whether it's as a triple threat or solo, because Roman doesn't have the nod anymore, which I highly, highly doubt. Braun's getting in that title picture. I don't know, but it's an exciting time, and I hope that High Fiver's right. I hope that we see Braun Strowman in that match one way or another. He's getting too big of a pop from the crowd. He's too popular with the fans to get the cheers that he gets, the reaction he gets when his music comes on, to be put in a situation with Triple H, none other than Triple H, to not be used properly going on the road to WrestleMania and into WrestleMania. So this whole Roman Reigns Intercontinental title thing really is a good thing, and really, like, to me, throws a lot of different things in a lot of different ways, and I really don't know how to take it. But I like it, and I like where it's going. I like where it has the potential to go, I should say. Now, The Miz, the story is he's going to be off TV for a while filming the next Marine movie, and what I want to see for The Miz is I want to see him come back and enter that title picture, be it the Universal or the WWE Championship. Personally, it makes way more sense for him to be in that WWE Championship picture, because he was there before he left SmackDown and went to Raw. So maybe he comes back and they do the draft again. Whenever he comes back, maybe he goes to SmackDown. Maybe he's gone until Royal Rumble and that's when he reappears. And maybe he wins and he goes on to challenge AJ or Jinder or whoever's champ at that time, because he goes to SmackDown. I don't know. Anything could happen, but those are the things I like to see out of this IC title reign by Roman. Something better comes out of what is going on with Braun. And I don't mean better because I love what's going on with Braun, but Braun gets in that title picture for WrestleMania. Roman either elevates the IC title, which he already is doing, and him beating The Miz for already elevates that belt. And then The Miz benefiting somehow, some way when he returns. Three guys that all, in my opinion, deserve to be on the top, should stay on the top, and we should find a way to get all three of them on top. And then at the same time, you have guys sitting out on the sideline, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but with no title in their sights at the current time, like Samoa Joe and Finn Balor, and as I said, even still Braun Strowman, get these guys in the mix with the IC title, move Braun into that main title picture, and we could have a hell of a road to WrestleMania and a hell of a WrestleMania card. Nobody knows for sure, but you know that penciled in WrestleMania main event already has Roman and already has Brock Lesnar and the Universal Championship on those lines. So let's see what happens there, and let's see where that goes. Now, one thing I want to touch on, it's just something funny, and this is the whole Finn. I just mentioned Finn Balor, and rumor came out this week that Vince McMahon doesn't think he's over enough. And one thing that I love about Finn, because this was in reference to the Royal Rumble, and Finn having a match with Brock Lesnar, which I'm a huge Finn fan, and I'll be honest with you, I thought, man, I don't know how that's going to work with the size difference, but AJ showed how that could work. And I know Finn's still a little smaller than AJ, but let's be honest, they're pretty close. I think it would work, and it would definitely make Finn look even stronger, even though we know he would lose. Now, that being said, the rumor went out that Finn Balor, Vince McMahon doesn't see him as over enough to have a Brock Lesnar match. I don't know if there's any truth to this statement at all, but I will say that Finn Balor is the ultimate Twitter troll and has been putting out over the past few days just hilarious things with over in it, a picture of him with Roman Reigns, having Roman Reigns in an armbar and on a mat, and he typed forever but capitalized OVER. A picture of him taking a turkey out of the oven and said, "I'm over this turkey." Just fun stuff. A picture of the crowd or a video of the crowd. I don't even remember, just doing his entrance, the arms to the side and the air entrance. Like, just little things. And it makes me wonder, because there was all this talk before about fans just saying Finn should leave the company after he got tombstoned by Kane, after he took 3 choke slams to lose to Kane and then got tombstoned the following week on the ramp, and everyone just cried about how horrible Finn's career is in WWE and they're not using him right. And look, I don't know what the deal is. I think Finn could be used better, but at the same time, we're suffering from that Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar problem we just talked about. So, is Finn going to be better off in another organization? I don't know. I don't think so. He's probably making a ton of merch money here in WWE, because he's got 2 things to sell. He's got the Demon to sell, and he's got Finn Balor to sell. Corey, if you believe the rumors, Vince only likes the Demon, doesn't like regular Finn. So what do? Do we just say make him the Demon all the time? I think the Demon will get boring after that, and I think that'd be a pain in Finn's ass. And I don't even know if I buy that. I mean, Finn's a Triple H guy. I don't think Finn's career is dead in the water just yet. I think we're just suffering with the Brock Lesnar problem. Now, I do think Finn would drastically benefit from a move to SmackDown, but I don't know if that's in the cards yet. So we'll see. But meanwhile, let good old Finn Balor entertain all of us on Twitter and keep all of us wondering what in the hell is going on in his head. Guys, I want to come back and just tell you a little bit of the things that I'm thankful for this year, 2017, in the world of pro wrestling. Hang tight. We'll be right back. Welcome back. I want to close the show. It's Thanksgiving, and it's time of the year where we like to give thanks for everything and just kind of reflect on the year that has been. I know we've got a few weeks left in the year, and there's still plenty of things to happen in this crazy world of pro wrestling that we all know and love, but I wanted to kind of go over some things. And one thing I'm thankful for, and I just mentioned in the last segment, but is Twitter troll Finn Balor. He keeps me entertained. He is a fun follow on Twitter, so go give him a follow. Another thing that I'm thankful for in the year 2017 is women's wrestling. Again, I touched on the beginning of the show. We had the call-ups, the new stars, Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, Sarah Logan on a SmackDown side, a returning Paige, and then the addition of Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville on Raw. And I don't know what all of that means, but I love that we're getting this. I love we're getting an influx of new talent. This women's revolution started really back in NXT with Paige and Emma, and the likes of them with Charlotte and some of these other women that really just paved a way for girls on the main roster to be taken seriously. And, the match quality has improved, the storylines have improved. We see women actually wrestling. We've got a Money in the Bank for the women now. We have a possible Royal Rumble on the horizon. We've seen Hell in a Cell matches. We've seen kendo stick on a pole matches, which I'll leave it off a pole and just give it a kendo stick or a hardcore match. We've seen table matches. We've seen these women start to do all the things that the men do. If we get a Rumble match, that's awesome. If we get an Elimination Chamber match for the women, I'm all for it. And I love to see the continuation. We had the Mae Young Classic. We saw a lot of good, unsigned, fresh women getting a chance to shine, getting that spotlight, that WWE rub on them, even if they don't end up signing. They've got that to look back on and to improve their money, improve their booking, what they're asking for per booking, and then maybe, just maybe they do get that call and they get in an NXT deal or a main roster deal, and that is awesome for everybody involved. And I'm glad that 2017 has continued from 2016, and we're just rolling into women's wrestling is here, guys. And I'm excited to see what 2018 holds for women's wrestling. Pardon me, we had stars like Alexa Bliss is a perfect example of what can happen, and we'll relate her to Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan didn't really do much on NXT, but made herself a star, or didn't really do much on NXT, but she's coming up into the main roster now. Alexa Bliss really didn't do a whole lot storyline-wise in NXT, but now she's a star. She made herself a star, and she became a star on the main roster, and that's something that could happen for the likes of Liv Morgan or Sarah Logan. Ruby Riott's had that time, but, Mandy Rose is another one. She didn't do much in NXT, at least not storyline-wise, and maybe she can. And let's not forget girls like Naomi, Natalya, who has that pedigree and is just a reliable worker in the ring, and even girls like Foxy and the Bellas. These are crossovers from the Diva days that have come into this women's revolution and proven they belong there, proven that they can learn, they can adapt, and they can become legit contenders with these girls who are looked at in a completely different light because they can go. And I like the fact that they have adjusted and they've maintained and improved in a lot of ways to become better. Another thing I'm thankful for in 2017 is competition. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you there's a new Monday Night War, because there isn't. But different companies are making moves. Ring of Honor and New Japan are huge. The Bullet Club is huge, especially the Young Bucks, the Elite with Kenny Omega. They have their YouTube show, which is so much fun. This is good for many reasons. The success of companies like Ring of Honor and New Japan helps guys have more places to work. It helps guys get more bookings on the indies that are even outside of Ring of Honor and New Japan. If you want to consider those two promotion indies, it lets these guys maybe, build a name on the indies, go into Ring of Honor and build a name there. Or maybe someone who failed in WWE, not meaning anything negative for it, but maybe they go to a Ring of Honor New Japan on that WWE cred, build themselves back up, and maybe they stay there, maybe they make a ton of money there, maybe they come back to WWE. Any of that's possible, but the thing that happens when you have competition is you have entertaining wrestling. This is why the Kenny Omega Y2J thing is so big. It leads to dream matches like this. Competition leads to WWE going over to New Japan and pulling guys like AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and saying, hey, we want them. And then you get Shinsuke and AJ facing off at the Money in the Bank with that stare, which didn't lead too much then, but maybe foreshadows a WrestleMania match. These guys fought at Wrestle Kingdom. Can they do it again at WrestleMania? How huge would that be? The Kenny Omega Y2J thing, Chris Jericho at Wrestle Kingdom is amazing, and I cannot wait to see it. And that's going to lead to better things for Jericho in the future in the WWE. Not that he needs better things, but it just, again, adds to his credibility. This will help Omega and New Japan, which is going to, in turn, help the WWE, because the WWE is its best when they're at competition. When they're resting on their laurels, they get a little lazy and get a little boring. But if anything, look at Survivor Series. Look at what a little bit of a shot in the arm, and you can argue me on this all you want, but I will say that Survivor Series was changing to a week before, and there were reasons for that. Was it the Jericho thing? I don't think that was the sole reason, but I'm sure that played a part in it. You have, Ring of Honor and New Japan are basically telling WWE, look, we might not have your money, we might not have your network or accessibility to all our fans, but we're not going anywhere. And the people are hungry, and if you're not making them happy, we will. And that's a real thing. And that means that WWE needs to put on real good pay-per-views, real good weekly television. And I think they're doing that. And I think without the competition, we don't get that. Not on a consistent basis, and we're getting it on a more consistent basis. The last few pay-per-views have been stellar. The last few Raw and SmackDowns, even leading up to Survivor Series, have been really, really good. So I'm glad that there's competition. I'm glad there's other options for wrestling fans, because it makes the whole genre of pro wrestling better. And I'm going to leave you with this. One thing I'm thankful for in 2017 is Triple H. Triple H gets a bad rap. Triple H gets he married a boss's daughter. That's the only reason he's in the position he's in, which is complete horseshit. He gets accused of pushing himself over young guys. And I think the bottom line is Triple H is what's best for business sometimes. Sometimes, if things aren't working out, things don't look as good as they possibly could, you got to make that call. And he's always there ready to go. This is a guy who, if you read the sheets and you read the reports, who wrestled in place of Roman Reigns when he was sick and Bray Wyatt, and still paid them for missing these tours while they're sick. Supposedly did the same thing for Kevin Owens when Kevin Owens had a family issue and had to leave a tour. Triple H wrestled in his spot and paid him. This is the guy that is going to lead this company, guys. Like, you look at everything he's done for NXT, everything he's doing for NXT, everything he's doing for the current roster. He doesn't have control over the main roster now, but you're starting to see that he's getting more control. He's getting more ability to do more things. At least that's my belief. And I'm thankful that Triple H has the wrestling knowledge in his head to pull off the things that he has been pulling off and to make things look good the way they do. Now, you might argue with me, you might hate Triple H, and that's your call. That is totally up to you how you see it. But I'm here to tell you that I feel like Triple H is the right person for this. I feel like the WWE is in really good hands if Triple H is at the helm. And I'm excited to see where it goes. Not that I wish anything ill on Vince. That would be tragic. But the future of this company is in Triple H's hands. And he's going to continue to make moves to make that obvious to us, to make the fans see that he is slowly gaining more control and showing us more of what WWE is going to look like. If you want to see what WWE looks like with Triple H in control, watch NXT. It's a different product, and it's fun, and it's literally most people who are diehard NXT fans really don't even like the main roster stuff and don't like to see their NXT guys go to the main roster because they don't feel like they're presented right. And I could debate that all day long, but that's not why we're here. I'm just thankful that Triple H is a part of this company and will continue to be a part of this company for a really, really long time. And I think wrestling fans as a whole should be thankful for that. Guys, I'm so glad you checked this out. Don't forget everything we do on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Nearfall Network. Check it out. We're on Twitter, and I am the one behind our Twitter. It's at Nearfall Network. Give us a listen. Give us a look. Check it out. As I say every week, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. We'll catch you next time.